Good evening again, and I'm sorry that I'm not really well prepared for this speech, and again because I don't have any presentation that's been developed, so I'm sorry that the only thing that you will see is concept. So hopefully it's going to be interesting to you. Thanks to my colleagues, actually they didn't leave any kind, let's say, I'm not going to talk about knowledge-based accounting because I think we had to give enough lessons today. Having such, expert people here in this meeting room. But I will be talking more specifically about the educational reforms in Qatar and how it helped in moving Qatar towards the economic diversification, of course, to the knowledge-based economy in the last decade. Needless to mention that Qatar is a small-sized country. And it's just exactly as Dr. Fawzan mentioned previously. Qatar is just exactly as the other GCC countries, Bahrain, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, and others, in terms of its political, social, economic background. But I would like to say that, to start with, is that Qatar is a rich country. So it was very logical that it would invest the returns of the oil and gas in building its human capital. Basically, its people through education, education itself. So it's invested a lot since the oil and gas revenues start taking, to the Qatari GDP and Qatari economy. However, let's talk honestly. It wasn't well planned and well implemented, as you know, being a hydrocarbon country, rentier state, and all of these controversial issues. Didn't give Qatar as a leadership in a way that it will really direct its investment in the right proper way in terms of investing heavily in its people towards the future where suddenly they will wake up and there will be no more oil and gas. But let's go back by the mid-1990s where Qatar leadership recognized very strongly that without taking the right action in the right time, it will be so late for them to think at later stage. So the Qatar leadership in the mid-1990s, they started taking a very good decision by reforming its education. And the kind of approach they've been approaching in reforming the education was a mix of traditional and innovative approaches in a way that it started by reforming the local educational in Qatar, however, by attracting more international branches and at the same time by contracting or getting the best consultants, if you would like to say, those who can participate in reforming the education as per for example, the international standards being developed by the World Bank, by the OECD, and many other academic and international organizations. Let's talk first about the mid-1995, where a new institution was established in Qatar. Qatar Foundation. I'm sure that you had, read something about this institution. Qatar Foundation for Education, Science, and Community Development. That approach, the QF approach, was basically depending on attracting international, basically American, European, well-known and well-recognized universities to Qatar. They started by Virginia Commonwealth for graphic design and interior design, and they ended till today by 9 international universities, including Weill Cornell for medicine, Texas A&M for engineering, Georgetown for international affairs, Carnegie Mellon for business and information system. I'm not forgetting anything. Today we have sorry? UCL? Yeah, UCL. And UCL, and the third one was taken by Abu Dhabi. The HEC for business MBAs, mixed. Yeah, exactly. So that was the beginning in 1995. And all those universities today, in addition to its new sister, which is called Hamad bin Khalifa University, that also operates four schools, the School of Humanities and Social Sciences, the School of Public Policy and Law, the school, I think, the Center of Sustainable Development, and there's also a Center for Engineering and ICT, which all offers bachelor, master, and PhD degrees. On the other hand, talking about the only Qatar National University, which is Qatar University, is the biggest and the oldest. Its reform started in the mid-2003. Now, before 2003, Qatar in general was suffering, as many other GCC and maybe the whole MENA countries, in terms of talking back about the divorce. The divorce between the educational institutions and the labor market, where unfortunately both spouses are, husband and wife, working their own directions without, connecting to each other. So that was exactly the same situation in Qatar, where the educational outcomes coming from QU, Qatar University, is not helping at all, or not even of any kind of benefit to the labor market in terms of the skills we are looking for. They are looking for any kind of talents they are wishing to have. So by 2003, Qatar leadership, presenting the person in His Highness Sheikh Tamim, because he used to supervise directly Qatar University, he started a Qatar University reform project that lasted from 2003 to 2008. By this reform, the main objectives is not only to end by having graduates that will meet the labor market and knowledge-based economy, but more significantly, that it will be based on international standards. And that's why by 2014, even 15, many programs in Qatar University, including science, statistics, business, finance, economic development, biology, physics, and journalism, they were internationally accredited. The thing that I have to focus here with Qatar University, because it is the only national and the biggest and the oldest university in the country, it attracts not less than 70% of the high school graduates. So we cannot compare it to Qatar Education, Qatar Foundation, Education City, and Hend Al Muftah, not in terms of the enrollment, because at QU is still the highest, much highest. It's usually enrolled and the graduate not less than between 50 to 70 of the, I'm talking basically about the Qatari students, compared to to between 20 to 30% even in terms of enrollment, or in terms of the graduates within Qatar Foundation. And maybe one of the reasons is that the admission requirements at Qatar Foundation and Hend Al Muftah University is very high, and it is just exactly as goes the one in their campus international compared to Qatar University, even though the reform, but it is much less compared to Education City. Now, in terms of the research and development that's been mentioned and focused a lot, we're talking about knowledge-based economy. Again, when Qatar launched they launched Qatar National Vision to 2030 in 2008, one of the main pillars was focusing on is human development in addition to the economic development, of course, including the diversification of this economy, and of course, moving forward to the knowledge-based economy. One of the main targets that was focused within the Qatar National Vision, or actually the first strategic plan of Qatar 2011-2016, is increasing the number of Qatari graduates with knowledge-based specialization in order to be knowledge workers. That target, actually, I think it was 56 or something like this. Today, as per today's statistics, 67 of Qatari graduates, whether from QU or the Education City, or even from those graduated abroad, they are equipped with knowledge specialization, reaching 67% of today's graduates, and 63% of Qatari laborers are in either a knowledge specialization or being classified as knowledge workers. Now, I'm not going to talk about what is knowledge workers or what is knowledge specialization, but I have to mention something that in Qatar, the first strategy, they listed what kind of specialization they need to focus on during the coming years, 10 years, in order to classify those students or Qatari students as knowledge workers in the future. Mainly there was a lot of focus on science, including engineering, medicine, IT definitely, but also there was a lot of focus on other social and the humanities, including, for example, economic development, business, finance, and accounting, and so on. So as per today's statistics, yes, we did reach the 67% that was even targeted as, as knowledge workers. Now, when it comes to research and development, Qatar also invested heavily, taking into account that they have to utilize the money of the oil and gas, otherwise such opportunity will not be available in the next few decades. So they invested very heavily in research and development, and that was by 2005 by the establishment of Qatar Science Technology Zone Park. That followed by Qatar National Research Fund, which encouraged a lot the research among not only the professors and the academics and researchers in the academic institution, but also in the industry. And if I'm not mistaken, it was also targeting the high school students and, of course, the university students. So today it has many programs, including the high school, the university, as well as the professors and researchers that is related directly to institutions. And it was really succeeded during the last 5 years in doing its job in a way that it is spent more than $300 million on research that was really actively participating in developing, more specifically in the industry, itself. QU was the major contributor and the major also benefit from this research grants, where they received more than 70% of such research and development allocated on an annual basis by Qatar National Research Fund. Now, one of the issues that we discussed in this in this meeting is that the gender gap, as Dr. Amir said. Well, I can tell you that even, I would say Qatar University, because it is the only major university in Qatar and it is attracts 70% of the Qatari females due to many social aspects. Qatari females actually progressed very quickly in the last decade in terms of of their educational enrollment, always the highest percentage compared to the Qatari males. In terms of educational attainment, not less than 70% are with university and postgraduate studies. And even in terms of their participation to the labor market, were increased over the last 2 decades to the extent it's not only about the percentage, 70%, but also in more leadership and even professional positions, including the engineering and the ICT industries. What I would like to mention that even the picture is so rosy as you might think. However, we are, by the end of the day, a country that faces a lot of the challenges that are just facing in the countries in the MENA and region in general. One of the basic challenges we are still facing is that the KG to 12 education, even though it was gone through a reform over the last decade. But because it was planned well, but it wasn't implemented in the right way as it was planned, it didn't really give the link, or sorry, not the link, the kind of requirements needed by the reforms done at QU and Education City itself, where the high school or the KG to 12 graduates as an input were not, as the same standard as required by the higher education institutions in Qatar. And that's why the country was required or finds itself in more investment, in bridging the gap between the between the high school and between the higher education. So, having a lot of academic bridge foundation programs that will link such a gap. So this is one of the major challenges we are still facing till today, and I think, at least this is my personal observation, I think we will still keep facing such a challenge, at least in this decade. Now, in addition to QU and Qatar Foundation, we have a lot of other universities in Qatar, including the military Calgary for nursing and health sciences. We have the North Atlantic, again, focus a lot in ICT and technologies and industries. We have also the Qatar Leadership Center, which is a transition between employment, between university and employment, where after 2-3 years of employment, any Qatari can go to join this program to increase and enhance their leadership. We have also a lot of research centers that focus on sustainable development and technology, basically the engineering and the ICT and how it will help in improving the quality and output of the industries in the country. Again, I would believe that one of the challenges is that not only just reforming the KG to 12, but also the communication, because I can't remember one of the speakers mentioned something about connecting and cooperating these scattered efforts, because education is a think tank. But by the end of the day, I think the Dr. Fawzan said, if the outcomes of such academic institutions were not invested properly by the industry or by the labor market, then it would be a lost investment, because it will not really get the right rate of return as it was expected and planned. So Qatar is a governmental, by the way, driven education, but I would believe it is a unique case in a way. It was driven in the last decade in a proper way, even though we have some good results in terms of educational outcomes, in terms of knowledge-based economy. And by the way, knowledge-based economy in Qatar is being driven not only, of course, by education, even though it's the main pillar, but however, there's a lot of focus on international investment, the SMEs, the petrochemical and chemical industry, the banking and finance, and so many issues. But as we all agree, being an academics and researchers, again, education will remain the main factor in driving a knowledge-based economy. Thank you, and hopefully it was enough for me to understand about Qatar case.
Yeah,
Please remember, if we all help and do a little bit, it will make a big difference.